just a moment. We'll go ahead and do a opening statement for Coach, and we'll open up for questions. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, tough night. Give Maryland a ton of credit. I'll take most of this one. This is allowing not two consecutive days of not being very sharp in practice, and that's ultimately on me. But it's a frustrating game. We had a lead, and we had 3 consecutive trips in there where I missed a shot. Kof had a turnover on a post up, and Bello on an out of bounds play, and you hold a team on the road to 1 field goal in almost 9 minutes. You should be okay. But we didn't finish anything yesterday. Nothing. We were just as bad yesterday in practice as what everybody saw today at finishing. And I've got to re-examine what we're doing in practice and how we're going about it. But again, I don't want to take anything away from Maryland. We knew this was a good team that anybody can go to Wisconsin and win. Now come here and do that. Morcell did what a senior should do and made every big play, and they outfought us, they out-toughed us, and deserved to win the game.
Okay, we'll start off with Jeremy, and then Scott, Richie on deck, and Gavin Good in the hole. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Brad, obviously your team has these stretches where they can just dominate, but there's also a little bit of inconsistency. You talked last game about trying to figure that out. Have you figured that out, or what are you seeing, or what do you think's behind some inconsistency?
A million reasons. It's something different almost every game. How about missed layups today? How about turnovers in the first half when you've got a chance to really kind of pull away? I thought. We missed things, missed opportunities, and again, it's been everything. It's been, today we let Dante Scott, his first 3 threes were all scouting report mistakes. And, and it was 3 different people, and it was Io, it was DeMonte, the first one. And those are just mistakes, and those are mistakes we haven't been making. So, we missed so many bunnies and putbacks, but we did that yesterday and the day before. And, again, they were physical, they were tough, they smacked us, they hit us. Give them credit.
Does that surprise you with this team? And if so, how do you kind of address it with the guys?
We just got to look at ourselves in the mirror and and change it. And it was frustrating. We didn't get the ball to Kofi enough in the second half. I got to do a better job of that. And yet when he gets doubled and tripled, he can't turn it over. Had 2 turnovers, passed it out, and that's just being sloppy and not sharp. And we held them to 66 points. They shot 40%. We can talk about our defense, and yet you hold them to 1 field goal in 9 minutes or close to it. But just we couldn't get a crease. We couldn't get an edge. We couldn't. Again, they just give them credit.
Thanks.
Okay, go ahead, Scott, and Gavin Good on deck.
Hey, Brad, we watched Andre come out here and just put up shots for about 10 minutes, including maybe, a few, attempts at the one that he missed there in the last minute. What do you tell maybe a freshman that's feeling like he maybe left something out there?
Next game. It's the ball doesn't always go in, and it's next game, and he's gonna see those type of coverages the rest of the way. He's got to keep working on his shooting. He's got to get in the gym and shoot. He's got to learn to make floaters oversized. And that's today was a tough day for him, and they stayed at home, and those are shots he normally makes and will make. Today just wasn't one of them.
You mentioned Daryl Morcell. Just how important is what he did, maybe in the context of Eric Ayala not being available?
Well, that team, so often happens. When you lose a good player, you rally, and he changed positions and changed spots and took on the job of guarding Io, and I think he had 3 or 4 at half and ends up with 19. But it was what a senior does, and again, I thought the inconsistent. We were inconsistent in our ball screen coverages with him. We had some different matchups. He played on the ball a lot with his size and strength. That was effective. But again, he made some hard shots, and he's not known as a 3-point shooter, and he hit a couple of those as well.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Gavin. Nope.
Brad, it kind of got lost in the game, but there was that moment when Georgie was really upset, and he kind of came over to the bench, and you kind of like seemed to put him in a bear hug and try to calm him down. What did you see there? What was that moment like?
Yeah, the official came over and said he completely missed the call after halftime after he watched it, and Georgie's. We all know Georgie gets emotional, and when he feels like he plays really good defense, and part of that maybe his reputation early on in his career, and the official came up and actually apologized to him after the at halftime, but it doesn't help in that moment. And we keep trying to get Georgie to move on next play. He's been much better at that, but today, for whatever the reason, he wasn't.
Yeah, and then early on in Big Ten play, he had a couple of really efficient games from the field, and it seems like these last couple of games he's struggled a little bit to get in a rhythm. Do you think that's more mental for him, or something he's doing?
Get him on the court more in the last 2, and that's been part of it. I got to slide him over at the 4 a little more, and he's such a good passer. I was a little concerned today just because of the small lineup that they played. Probably should have countered a little bit with a big lineup, but Georgie's going to be just fine, and I got to get him on the court a little more.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Derek Piper, you're up. Robert Rosenthal on deck.
Good coach. On that last shot by Io, looked like there was about 3.6 when it left his hands. What did you make of that quality of shot? Would you like him to get closer? Were you afraid about him getting fouled down 3? What did you think of that?
Yeah, we were running a little play we called pistol, and Ace was going to step up and set a screen, but part of that was we were expecting them to foul, and that's a shot that Io makes a lot. It wasn't that deep. A lot of guys take that shot, and I'd let Io shoot that shot 9 out of 10 times. Today just was one of those that didn't go in.
You mentioned getting the ball to Kofi more. It seemed like one of his last touches had like 3 guys on him. What goes into that as far as maybe creating looks out of that, or just the communication about getting the ball even when there is a lot of traffic around him?
We got to put him in positions to be successful, and one of those things was again is trying to get him the ball. We got him. DeMonte had 5 assists, most of those in the first half. Getting him the ball and creating a crease and creating an angle, and we did a much better job. But we ran our offense with no pace today. We were really stagnant. We looked heavy-legged and almost tired and lethargic. They haven't. Nobody all year has gotten to a defensive ball screen coverage against us because we've run it with so much pace. Today was just a different story, and we got to get that figured out. I don't know what it was today, but again, give Maryland credit because they.
Okay, Robert, you're up, and Joey Wagner on deck.
Yeah, Coach, I'm just curious about Trent, his injury, his availability there in the second half. He did play, but not much. Just curious if there's any further updates specifically on that.
Yeah, he was sore. We'll have a little more knowledge tomorrow as to what it was, and he wanted to try and go, but obviously we saw his jump shot, and that wasn't very close. And there's no doubt we missed Trent defensively, but again, we'll see what that brings tomorrow.
And was that a decision after his 7 minutes of maybe he's not there and not to play him late?
And again, I felt great defensively because of we'd gone had some pretty good possessions. We're getting stops, and you know, if a guy can't feel like he can shoot it, he was padded up pretty good and taped up. If a guy feels like it's bothering him, it won't take long for the other bench to figure that out and just not guard him.
Okay, Joey Wagner, you're up. Brandon Simberg on deck. Go ahead, Joey.
Brad, I wanted to follow up on that with Trent. Obviously, defensively, it looked like he was on Wiggins for the better part of the night. What did you guys miss on that end without Trent, and how did that kind of change the tenor of the game, both X's and O's, and maybe even emotionally?
Well, Trent did a good job on him. I mean, we did a good job on Wiggins. Wiggins wasn't the guy that hurt us, but you know, you're talking about one of the elite defenders in our league, and we lose that. We also lose a guy who makes a lot of energy plays and a lot of the right plays. And you know, not that anybody else was bad there, but you know, Trent's also got that ability to hit big shots and big threes, and you know, he creates space with his speed. So you know, there's no doubt we miss having Trent out there.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay, we'll go Brandon Simberg, and that will be the last question. Go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, Coach. Io played 40 minutes tonight. Was there ever a time where you were going to think about pulling him, or did he want to be in for the full 40?
Yeah, kind of the way timeouts work in this game. I usually get him out in the first half. You know, there was some moments in there where I thought the pace was okay, and but you know, he's pretty well conditioned, and I usually don't like to do that. Play guys 40 minutes, but today with Trent's situation, it was a little more needed, and we went that way.
Any follow-up, Brandon?
And yeah, I do. I have a separate question. In the second half, it only Curbelo, Io, and Kofi really seemed to get going. So how can you kind of get other guys involved?
We take what the defense gives us and what's out there. And I think that's one of the beauties of our team is we haven't had, you know, we've had pretty productive nights, and you know, from a lot of different guys. But again, we weren't sharp offensively, so you know, I don't know if it was really a matter of who we got going, but you know, Ace was going early, and they were all in transition, and yet you know, they were doing a great job of closing on him with length, and you know, he got a couple blocked, but you know, we got to do a better job. I've got to do a better job of that.
All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks. Yeah.